Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone. I'm Dustin Kane, and with me, as always, is Chris Gramlich. What's happening?
Not much, man. How you been?
I've been good. We were just Chris and I were just talking before the show some Amazon horror stories. So we'll get into it. I'm sure we'll touch on these in another episode soon. But
for sure,
it's always interesting, this Amazon game, isn't it?
It never stops. There's always something. There's always a hurdle.
Exactly. But for those of us that can keep going over those hurdles and stay the long game, it's a nice payoff. But it definitely keeps it interesting. There's no doubt about that. But well, I'm excited about today's podcast, Chris, where we're gonna talk about all the steps involved in shipping in inventory to Amazon FBA. This is going to be tailored towards some new sellers, some people who are looking to do their first shipment or haven't sent anything in yet. It can really actually be overwhelming. I remember the first time I was like, I don't know if this is going to make it to the right place.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things you got to do. That's just the whole process. And I'm with you. Like, I remember, like, am I doing this right? Is Amazon going to take this? But once you get the hang of it, it can become second nature. You just start to roll with it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think a good way to kick this off is just to describe just sort of how Amazon's fulfillment process works. I mean, it's a beast in and of itself. And I think for a lot of people, they don't understand what's happening. But I mean, essentially, Amazon has fulfillment centers all over the United States. So when you send in inventory, you can either send into one warehouse or multiple warehouses, but no matter what you do, after it gets there, Amazon within itself is going to redistribute your inventory even further amongst all of their warehouses. And they do that based on their algorithm of where sales come from. They try to get the products closest to the people. So that's one thing, if you don't understand right off the bat, you're like, whoa, why am I sending in? Well, why is it telling me to send, 60 products to California and 100 products to New York, and then you got to make sure you do it all properly. And then there's obviously labeling and et cetera. And funny story also is, when I first started, I was about 10 minutes. I lived about 10 minutes away from a FBA. And now you and I live about 30 minutes away from one. It's right down the road. And I was like, why can't I just go drop this off?
Yeah, it's not easy, right?
You cannot. If you live next to a warehouse facility, you might still be shipping your products halfway across the country instead of driving them 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. But it's just the way that it is. So this will be a lot of fun to talk about and just the steps involved in this. All right, so Chris, why don't you start us off with just in terms of inside your account, once you're ready to ship in inventory, what are the things you have to do inside your Seller Central account to set up a shipment, to let Amazon know it's coming?
Yeah, the first thing is you need to know which product you're going to make change to fulfilled by Amazon. So if you're currently selling it by yourself or you're processing all the orders, that's what we call fulfilled by merchant. You're the one shipping it. If you want to change it to FBA, you would go to that item inside your inventory. You would select the checkbox next to the title, and you would make the settings change to fulfilled by Amazon. And then from there, Amazon's going to walk you through the steps on how to process it and get that product changed to fulfilled by Amazon. We'll dive into some more of that. But the first thing you want to do, definitely change the product from FBM to FBA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then once you've done that, now it's time to actually tell Amazon you're ready to send in inventory. And so you would go to your manage inventory page. You'd go down to your product that you're looking to send in, and then there's a drop-down menu where you're now going to create a fulfillment or send in and replenish inventory. Mm-hmm. So you click send replenish inventory, and then it's going to walk you now through some more steps of that. So once you click this, Chris, and now you're telling Amazon that you're ready to send and replenish more inventory, you're going to have to tell it a few things that are important. And this one actually threw me when I was first starting too, is you have to designate whether it's individual products or case packed products. what that means is if you've got products that are packed, like it's 20 units in a box, all sealed up, all packed, whatever's in there to protect it, and you don't want to take those products out and put some in other boxes, you would select case packed products, and Amazon will tell you, at the case level where to send them. If you've got a bunch of different individual products, you'd select individual products, and then Amazon is actually going to tell you, hey, you need to put 7 of these in one box and 24 of these in another box. And if you've got multiple individual products, they could be a mixture in each shipment where it's going. So it's important that you pick the right thing, individual or case packed. What's next after that, Chris?
Well, for private labelers, you're probably going to select the case packed, and that's where you're going to ask your supplier how many units come in a case. I've done the units, the individual items, and it just gets more complicated because you're taking 5 here, you're putting 6 over there, and 10 over here. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot easier to do case packed. But once you select that, you're going to select case packed. And the next thing you're going to need to do is get the item labeled. You want to get the items that you're sending in to FBA. You want to make sure you have the correct labels on those items. And these labels are Amazon like SKU numbers. They're individual numbers that are assigned to the product that Amazon gives you. So you'll want to make sure that these labels are on the item. A quick tip here is before you get your packaging created, or before you finalize the packaging with your supplier, you can print these item labels off ahead of time and send those to your supplier so that it's on your packaging already. That way, when you get the product and you ship it into FBA, or your supplier ships it into FBA, they're already labeled. I made that mistake where I didn't have that label on there before. And so I had to go back and relabel all of them. So that takes a lot of time. So now when you're making an item or you're ready to ship in the item, send your supplier the item label. It's in a PDF format. They will then print that label on the packaging. And now you've got this step covered. You don't have to worry about doing it. So after you choose which type of shipment, either individual or case, next thing you do is label it.
Yep. And another important thing about the labeling is that labeling has to be on the very outside of your packaging. I mean, if you can't you don't want to label the product and then put that product in a bag or something. Yeah. You need that label's got to be on the outside part of it so that it can be scanned, because that label that you're printing is how Amazon controls their inventory. They'll right. Check your product in by scanning those labels, and when they sell, they'll scan them out. So if there's any issues with the labels, you're gonna have some issues. Now, there are different programs where you can, if you have a UPC code on your product and it's just yours, you can have it, where it's just that barcode counts as well. If you're selling, it's not your product. If you're selling a common product that you just want to resell in there, you can do what's called commingling your inventory, or you can just go in. So there's lots of ways, but by far the safest, best way is just label it with that Amazon label. Make sure it's on the outside and readable. All right, so now once you have that, Amazon will then do what they call, they'll create a shipping plan, and they'll tell you where you need to ship your products. If you've done individual products, it's going to tell you just random numbers you need to send to one location and random numbers you got to send to the next location. And then you've got to figure out how to package it. And then you will then tell Amazon the dimensions and the weight of the packaging that you've now created based on what they've told you. If you've done case packed, they'll just say you send 3 cases this way and 3 cases that way. Or typically they'll tell you 2 to 3 fulfillment centers. Now, one thing about that is there is a way where you can send everything into one fulfillment center in one shipment. Okay, you do have to set that in your settings. But what happens there is if you do that, then they're going to charge you, I believe right now it's 20 cents per unit. It could have gone up. But if you go to one fulfillment center, they're going to charge you basically a redistribution fee, where they'll allow you to go to one fulfillment center, but then they're charging you because now they've got to ship it everywhere else. If you don't have that option, then they will tell you multiple marketplaces or fulfillment centers that you have to send to, and you won't get charged that fee. So typically you're going to be sending you to 2 or 3 places that are spread out across the country, and that helps them cut their own cost of redistributing the inventory throughout their fulfillment centers. So I don't like to spend that 20 cents. So I don't. Now, in the past, I've done it where I had a full container load come in and I wanted that container to go. It was much easier to have the container to go to one place. So I did do the 20 cents. But typically I go to the multiple different FBA centers. So once that's happened, once you've got your shipping plan, now you'll have to get the shipping. And this is where you can use Amazon's preferred partners, which can save you a lot of money. So Chris, you want to talk about just how you end up getting the shipping labels and what that looks like?
Yeah, for sure. So once you know the dimensions and the weight of the item, you're going to continue going through the process. And Amazon makes it very clear inside your account. You just follow the steps. But once you agree to the terms and the conditions and accept the charges or the changes, you're going to see these charges that Amazon gives you for the shipment. And these rates are super, super cheap. Mm-hmm. You're getting Amazon's preferred rate with UPS for your items. So it's very inexpensive. There's no way you, as an individual, you'd get the same rate. But you're going to use Amazon's preferred rates, and it's probably going to be UPS more than likely. And then you simply just accept those charges. They will take that charge out of your disbursement that you get every 2 weeks, or if you get every day, if you're fortunate, that's good for you. But they'll take that fee out of that disbursement. And then all you do is just print the label off. They're going to give you two different labels. You're going to get a UPS label. That's just the typical UPS label that you see on all the packages that you normally get. And then there's going to be another label, which is the FBA label. This is what Amazon scans and tells them that what's inside the box. I remember the day where you had to add a packing slip to the item. Thank goodness that doesn't happen anymore. You don't have to add a packing slip, but you used to have to add a packing slip inside the box on top of all these other labels. So that they took that out. But yeah, all they're going to do, you're going to put the UPS label on there on the outside of the box. You're going to put the FBA label on there on the same box. And when you take it to the UPS store, they're going to scan the UPS label, and then you're done with it. So it's super, super easy after that. But yeah, you're going to get Amazon's good rate, which is super affordable. They're going to provide you the labels, and you just drop it off at the UPS store. Or you can download these labels, send to your supplier, and they can handle the rest.
Yeah. Now I think we should talk about what to expect once you've shipped it out, because there's some interesting things that happen with Amazon that you wouldn't expect on your first time. What happens is when you ship it to Amazon, you'll get an email when they receive your shipment. That doesn't mean that your products are for sale yet or that anything is in inventory, because a lot of times when I first started, I shipped it in, it was received, and I looked on Amazon and it's like, my listing's not active. I'm like, what's going on? It's there. I want to see my listing. It can take all kinds of different amounts of time for them. It depends on how busy they are from when they check it in. So they receive it, and then checking it in means they're actually scanning your products and putting them into the warehouse. Even then, it's still not necessarily for sale or for sale as prime. They will then at that point decide where to redistribute your products to. So they could now be going onto another Amazon car or truck and being shipped to another fulfillment center. So it can be days. And right now we're talking to you and we're doing this podcast during a pandemic. It's been weeks and weeks with delays. So there's been some issues there. But typically it's a couple of days, and then all of your inventory is checked in at full. So you'll see some different things. When you first ship it in, if you've got no inventory there, your listing won't be active. Then once they've checked it in, it'll actually make it active, but it'll show that the delivery times are long, like it'll be available in 2 weeks or something like that. So customers can still buy it, but their shipping is going to be tricky. And then once it's fully checked in, it goes to Prime and everything works as normal. So just want to touch on that, because that can be another thing that throws you for a loop is when your inventory is received, but you don't see it, or you don't see it there. And
I've had this happen where it's like it says in stock not till like November 10th, and today's October 16th.
Yeah.
So it's like dang near a month before they get it checked in. So I mean that could hurt your conversion rate. Like if somebody goes to your listing and they see that they're not going to be able to get it for a month, they'll just leave and go to somewhere else. So you can change that in your Amazon settings as far as when the product is available. There's a newer feature come out that you can kind of get out of that program because you don't want your item to be available until it's actually ready to ship. Some people were adding this feature to their listing to try to get more sales, but what I've seen is it actually hurts your conversion rate because people go to your listing, they don't want to wait an additional 2 weeks, so they just go find a similar product. So normally I would like make sure that your offer is active before you start getting that in stock rate, because that can really kind of hurt your listing.
Yeah, great points there. And so for the most part, if we're talking about your first few shipments, this is the way that it would go. This is what you can expect. Obviously, as you grow and your shipments grow bigger, and there's other things that you would go into, and we can talk about these on later podcasts. But you have, where you're doing LTL shipments, where those are like palletized shipments. You can do direct containers. There's all kinds of things that you can do as you grow, and those are good problems. If you're sending in multiple pallets of products, you're growing. Or if you're sending in a container, you're doing well. And I've run the gamut, and there's all kinds of ways to make that more efficient. That's where a freight forwarder comes into play big time. And we'll have a freight forwarder on later to talk about different things. Some of the things that I've done is have a container shipped from China to LA, and then at LA it actually gets broken apart into multiple shipments, and then those shipments get sent to different fulfillment centers. That way I can avoid that 20 cent per item per unit fee on Amazon. So there's lots of different things that we can talk about, but container loads, LTL shipments, all of that are sort of the next step in the process as you grow your business.
Yeah, and for the most part, this is the very generic beginning stage of shipping an item FBA. Mm-hmm. You touched on it there, LTL shipments with pallets and stuff. That's a whole new different game, but hopefully we can cover that with that guest someday.
Absolutely. So, well, I hope everyone that helps you feel more comfortable with your first shipping into FBA. There's a lot, but we've all done it. We're still here, still rocking. So I encourage you to go ahead and get started with that. And hopefully this information was really helpful.
Yeah, and you guys out there listening, if you could do us a quick favor, if you could leave a review, that would be awesome. We would love to see some feedback on how this podcast is doing, how you like it. Then also, Dustin and I are account executives for Sellozo. That's SELLOZO. If you ever want to talk about Amazon or need some help with Amazon PPC, or just need somebody to bounce an idea off of, don't hesitate. Definitely reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help you out there as well.
Absolutely. And if this is your first shipment and you're sending it in, the next thing you're going to be doing is running ads. So that's right. That's where Chris and I can really help you out with Sellozo. So yes, like Chris said, please reach out to us. We love talking to Amazon sellers. We love helping you out. Hopefully all this was valuable information, and we look forward to seeing you, I guess, Monday. Today's Friday, so we'll take the weekend off. Chris, you got the weekend off, man. And now
thanks, man.
We'll come back strong on Monday. So all right, everybody. Have a great day out there. That was fun. See ya.